Oh, hi there, what if I told you that Spider-Man powers might not be as impossible as they seem? Like real life wall climbing, super strength and maybe even web-slinging. So stick with me because here we will be swinging into real science of just how much Spider-Man's powers are actually possible and could be turned a regular person into Spider-Man with just the right technology or biology. So let's start with Spider-Man's most famous trick, sticking to walls. Now, in the movies, Peter Parker gets bitten by a radioactive spider and suddenly he's climbing buildings with his bare hands, which sounds insane, right? But what if I told you that there are animals that do this every single day? They are called geckos. Geckos can walk on walls thanks to the millions of tiny hairs on their feet. These hairs are so small that they can grab onto surfaces in a really clever way. It's almost like their feet are super grippy, and when they step, those tiny hairs hold on just enough to keep them from falling, even on smooth walls. So no glue, no tricks, just nature doing something very smart. Now here's the catch, geckos are tiny, very tiny, and we all know that. But when you scale their ability up to a human body, things kinda get messy. You know, scientists from the University of Cambridge actually did the math. And for a human to climb walls like a gecko, they would need sticky pads covering about 40% of their body. That's from head to toe, whole 40%. Okay, I'm lying, it's not 40%, it's 39.99% if you subscribe to my channel in the next 48 hours. So how does Spider-Man pull it off without being a human walking sticker? In the 2012 Amazing Spider-Man, Peter's wall climbing powers are coming from changes to his skin, because the movie suggests he developed microscopic hairs just like geckos, but way more powerful. So technically, if we could put those structures into human skin and keep the ratio of strength high enough, it might just work. And then we might just have another Spider-Man movie. But what about Spider-Man's insane strength? Well, in the comics, Spider-Man can lift cars, stop trains, and even punch through solid metal. That's not just superhuman kind of strong, that's Hercules level strong. But let's talk about those spiders again. Some spiders can lift 170 times their own body weight, which is like you lifting a blue whale with your arms. But here's the problem, as you scale up size, strength actually doesn't scale the same way, and that's called the square cube law. As something grows in size, its volume and weight increases faster than its strength. And for this reason, while a spider can lift much more than his weight, a human-sized spider wouldn't even be able to lift itself from the ground. So how does our Peter Parker pull it off? Well, the radioactive spider didn't just bite Peter, it rewired his entire DNA, which made him way stronger. And when it comes to strength, there's an actual real condition in the world called myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy, which basically means that people that are born with this have way more muscles naturally. But it's not just the muscles though, your nervous system would need to fire signals way faster than normal, like lightning speed reflexes. And all of that combined together would give you Spider-Man strength. But for now, let's swing to something more fun than this. The webs. Is web-slinging even remotely possible? First, let's look at real spiders. Spider silk is stronger than steel by weight. No joke here. If you made a web with the thickness of a pencil, it could stop a commercial airplane mid-flight. But you would need an entire spider army for that, and then you couldn't even say spiders assemble. But here's the thing with the swinging. The webs would need to withstand 10 to 15 times your weight due to the swinging momentum. But if you had silk that was 10 times stronger than steel, then yes, it could hold. So could this be real? Well, in 2010, scientists at Utah State University genetically modified goats to produce spider silk proteins in their milk. So let's call them spider goats. These spider goats are helping researchers produce super strong fibers for medicine and military use. So yes, synthetic spider silk is real. Producing it in small amounts is hard, but it's also still possible. And so far everything sounds kinda maybe sort of doable, right? Well, let's talk about what really makes Spider-Man different from your gym bro with sticky gloves. Spidey Sense. In real life, some animals have special senses, and those can help them basically detect tiny electric fields or navigate using Earth's magnetic field. But humans, we have something called blind sight, A thing where some people can sometimes sense movement even without consciously seeing anything, but also high-level athletes and soldiers can develop hyper-fast reflexes through training, so their brains can process cues way faster than average. And if your brain was rewired to constantly analyze micro changes in the environment, then yes, Spidey Sense could be a real thing. However, now that we have broken this down to basics, let's talk about the big problem. Even if we had all the right ingredients, super strength, sticky hands, web shooters, Spidey Sense, and even great hair, could a human body actually survive that lifestyle? And the answer is, well, not yet, but maybe someday one of you watching this could become the next Spider-Man.